عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي.
So in a sense, there would be no problem, if you like, if I can put it that way, with Adam and Eve being tempted, as long as they didn't give in to that temptation. Now they had perfect will, or perfect free will, in the sense that the Bible says that we, as descendants of Adam and Eve, don't have. So we are, I'm not sure that Muslims agree with this, but we're born with original sin. We're born with a nature that always deviates away from God. So we always drift away from Him, veer away from Him because of our fallen nature, which then we ratify when we actively sin. Hence the Bible will go on to say that all human beings know they need a saviour, because all human beings know that they are sinners. We all know that we're not unlike Jesus.
You can't have a bigger saviour than God Almighty.
Yeah.
But you see,
that as well.
To me, even this concept of original sin is unjust, because it goes against, like I said, the book of Deuteronomy, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and so on. Yes, that when you actually pass on the sin from parent to child, and the child is already born with a negative account, yes, because of the parent's sins. To me, that is unjust.
Well,
so from the very beginning,
apart from the Bible talks about Adam, as you probably know, Adam means mankind. So Adam was our true representative in two ways. Both he was our genetic representative, and he was our representative in terms of Hebraic thought. So as, if I can put it this way, as Adam's arm reached out to take the fruit, in a sense, because he was mankind, all of us were in that arm.
But why? Why all of us?
Because Adam was the true representative.
But even if let's say, for example, you are a representative of your family. Yes?
Yes, but I'm not.
If you commit a sin or a crime, would you say that because you're representing your family, are they equally guilty?
I can't operate as Adam. No one.
But Adam was a human like you, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, but he was the first man.
Regardless, he was still a human.
Well, he was, but I can't be the representative of my family or mankind.
But you are a representative. You're the head of the family.
Well,
according to the Bible, 1 Corinthians 11:3.
Yes, but I'm not the true representative of all of mankind.
I didn't say all of mankind. I just said your family.
Well, I'm not the true representative of my family.
Well, the Bible says the head of the woman is man. I think in a marriage, you are the head.
Well, that's true. But I'm not the true representative in the sense that Adam was.
I didn't say you're legal. I didn't say you represent all humanity. But we need to really understand.
Even in a sort of marginal way, I can't be a representative in the same way that Adam was, because I'm not a perfect man as Adam originally was.
If Adam was perfect, he wouldn't have transgressed in the first place. You really need to see that the reason I do not consider Adam to be perfect is because he had the ability to sin, and this shows us that there was a weakness. To me, that is a weakness, not a perfection.
Well, I take it that Jesus technically had the ability to sin, otherwise it wouldn't have been real temptation.
Actually, he did sin, if you ask me, according to the Bible. Okay, do you remember when the Canaanite woman comes to him and seeks help from him with regards to his daughter, I believe, who's possessed or some illness, and he kind of ignores her, like at least 3 times.
The Syrophoenician woman.
Yeah. And he says,
salvation has come.
Yeah, he says, "I've not come except for the children of Israel."
Yeah, that's right.
And even then, she doesn't listen. She persistent. He says, "Please help my child." I'm paraphrasing here. And he says, "I do not cast the bread of the children to the dogs."
That's right.
So in this passage, who are the children and who are the dogs?
The children of the people of Israel and the dogs are Gentiles like us. Actually, we're dogs.
Did I say more?
In fact, yes, but the message, I mean, if...
Is calling someone a dog, is that derogatory?
No, and rightly so.
Is it a sin?
No. No.
Just because Jesus did it?
No, it's not a sin.
Isn't that being a bit selective?
No, it's not a...
If it was anyone else, you would have said, yes, that is a sin.
No, because...
Come on, be fair. To me, it's not only derogatory, but it's racist in a way. Because you see the race, the Bani Israel, are the only ones who are not considered dogs. Everyone else is dogs. to me it's not only derogatory, but it is something that, trust me, if Jesus was a role model, yes, he would not have stooped down to the level of those people who would consider other races as dog. You see what I mean? So to me, it's not only a sin, but it's one of the greatest sins, if you ask me. To racism, and calling someone, specifically, imagine this, if this was someone that you knew very well, and this woman especially is going and begging Jesus on her knees, please help me, several times. And what does Jesus end up calling her? A dog? Seriously?
It's because...
Trust me, if this was anyone else, I know you're smiling now.
No, I'm not.
Trust me, if this was anyone else, you would have seen that as, yes, that is wrong.
No, I tell you what, well, first, when all Protestants take communion, we echo her prayer.
So if all Protestants...
When all Protestants, as we did today on Easter Day, take communion, we echo her prayer. So the prayer of...
What's communion? Explain to the people who might not know.
Communion is when we remember Jesus' sacrifice.
How?
By remembering whether we take bread and wine to symbolize his body and his blood.
What do you do with that?
Bread and wine separated to signify death.
What do you do with the bread and the wine?
We eat it and we drink it.
So the body and the blood signifies... the bread and the wine signifies the body and the blood of Jesus Christ.
Because because it's a...
Does that not disturb you when you think of that?
Well, it's unusual, but then lots of things...
What is cannibalistic, if you ask me?
Well, it's not.
It definitely is. Be fair. If anybody else did that, yes, that was very rude, young man.
Sort of
if anybody else did that, you would say, how can you be so
when Jesus alludes
uncouth,
to it,
barbaric,
Yeah, but it's not. It's not literal.
So we got human sacrifice and we got cannibalism, and you call that love, and you call that just.
I do because
Did I say more?
Because your
ladies and gentlemen,
willfully misunderstanding.
I asked you specifically what it signifies.
Yes, but
it wasn't a willful misunderstanding. Come on.
It's symbolic, isn't it? It's not literal.
Yeah, but symbolic of what? Come on. Why would you want to eat and drink the person you love? Even if it's Jesus, even if it's a God, why would you want to eat and drink him?
To remember, it's a way of remembering who he is and what he did specifically on the cross.
But what? I don't know.
It's
burning a candle or something instead. Oops, they already do that in the church.
As with baptism, as Augustine said, it's a visible word. It's a visible explanation of who Jesus is and what he came to do.
There are better ways to show love than eating someone's blood and drinking that. Drinking the blood and eating their flesh.
It's to remember,
even if it's symbolic.
It's to remember the sacrifice of love.
Yeah.
That's what it's to do with.
You do know within certain denominations, within Christianity, the reason why they fell out is because certain denominations wouldn't actually use proper bread, because if the crumbs fell, they believed that was Jesus' flesh.
I know, but Hashim knows I'm talking as possible.
There were certain Christians that literally believed the bread to be the flesh of Jesus.
So that's a Roman Catholic
Good point.
misunderstanding, I would say.
By the way, an important point I wanted to ask you, do you consider Jesus' body to be God? His body.
His resurrection body? Or
no, it's his earthly body.
His incarnate body.
Yeah, his incarnate body.
I would say, we've had this discussion before. I would,
because it kind of fits into the context, that's why.
Yeah, just going back to the Syrophoenician woman. I mean, the Syrophoenician woman...
Oh, yes, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, the point is that, in addition to the fact that every time, I don't know about Roman Catholic, but every time Protestants take communion, Thomas Cranmer, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury at the time of Henry VIII, he kind of paraphrased what she said to remind us, if you like, to step into her shoes as we go and take communion. So we say, we do not, presume to come to this table, Heavenly Father, trusting our own righteousness, but we gather up happy to gather up the crumbs under your table. And the idea is that we recognise, not only dogs were worse than dogs, we're kind of, as someone said in my Bible study not so long ago, we're rats in our apart from God. So we and the Syrophoenician woman, and indeed anybody, don't deserve any good thing from God if he would just act in pure justice. But he is.
Yeah.
He is. He tells it as it is to the Syrophoenician woman, as he tells it to us. But he does act graciously to her, as he acts graciously.
Yeah, but insulting someone and then acting graciously is not really appealing, is it?
Yeah,
I mean, imagine if you were a teacher, yes, and you told your student, okay, I'm not going to help you because you are not X tribe or X color or whatever it is. Don't you think that person would feel offended? Of course they would feel offended. But because this woman was so desperate for Jesus' help, and she had firm faith in him, that's the important thing.
Yes, she did.
The reason she kept persisting is because she might have either seen him perform miracles or she might have heard about his miracles. But the important point is that she had faith in him. And the last thing a teacher would do to someone who has perfect faith in him or her is to insult her, and that too in a very derogatory and racial way, to make her into an animal. Well, obviously not literally, but like a sign of condescendence and a sign of insult, because the Jews at that time, they used to really.
Well, they used to refer to the Gentiles as.
Yeah, they used to despise the Gentiles. Yes, definitely, yes. And they used to refer to them as swines and dogs. And that's the reason you find other passages do not give the pearls to the swines and dogs. And many of them interpret that as do not give that knowledge that you possess to the Gentiles. Yes, trust me, no one would take that lightly. And the reason this woman, exactly, and the reason this woman kept insisting is because she was desperate for her child. Anyone would do. Look, if I knew that a certain doctor is going to call me a dog, yes, and then only is going to help my child, who I know will be cured by his help, then I would be willing to do that even. Like like okay, whatever you call, regardless of that, please help him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she said that even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall off the master's table. Yes. So she's being very wise here.
Well, she understood her need, and she understood that Jesus could help her.
Exactly. So she had both faith in Jesus, and she was desperate for help.
Yeah. So unlike the self-righteous around her, she understood that she needed divine help, and she understood that Jesus had the power and that he was willing to help her. Now we don't know.
Eventually, you're right. He did help her. I'm not saying no. But the thing is, after insulting her, he could have done that before.
We don't know.
So what is the first? No.
We have the sort of.
I'm going by the Bible.
Yes, sure.
So either you tell me the Bible is wrong, or Jesus didn't do this, or Jesus said something else.
We can't. I mean, we can't.
But let's see. But let's analyze the reason. Let's analyze from this passage. What was the reason he didn't help her? The reason was because she was not from the tribe of Israel, from the children of Israel.
Wow.
Wasn't that the reason? Because he says, I have not come except for the lost sheep of Israel. Not even for all of Israel, but from the lost sheep amongst them.
If I remember correctly, at least in Mark's Gospel, the context is that she, the Syrophoenician woman, is contrasted to the Pharisees, if I remember correctly.
The Pharisees were Jews.
The ultimate Jews, ultimate religious. So so Jesus turns from the ultimate, highly most religious, Jews of their day, and arguably of any generation, and turns to a complete outcast. So she's.
But she wasn't a Jew.
No. Therefore, she's an outcast. You see.
No. Hold on.
Appears to be an outcast.
Hold on. Are you saying that she wasn't a Gentile?
No, she was a Gentile.
So
she was therefore an outcast.
So what's that going to do with the Pharisees?
So she's been contrasted, I take it, by think of Mark's Gospel. Mark is contrasting how a seeming outcast is brought in and the insider is left out. So he's contrasting someone who is saved by grace and not by works. So she's got nothing. All she can do is throw herself on Jesus' mercy, whereas the Pharisees go away unjustified because they think they can justify themselves.
Yeah, but
in a nutshell.
But what you've done is you took the beginning and you took the end, and you just forgot about what happened in the middle. Because I told you the reason is already given in there why Jesus didn't help her. Because she's not from the Lordship of Israel.
She didn't initially.
Exactly. So that was the initial reason Jesus. So the answer is already there. We don't need to speculate as to why Jesus did that. Secondly, Jesus.
We know there's an order of salvation.
Second.
So we do know there's an order of salvation. So,
How do you mean?
So we do know that the gospel that Jesus came first for the Jews and then for the Gentiles, and that's how the message went out from Israel to Samaria and then to the end of the earth. And Paul in Romans, for example, he says that there is an order of salvation, and that God chose to save the Jews first, and then because of the Jews' rejection, then he turned to us Gentiles. But then ultimately he will use the salvation of the Gentiles to make the Jews jealous and bring the Jewish nation back in again.
Yeah, that was Paul. You're right, not Jesus. So later on, yes, Paul does amend and change many things.
I don't think he changed anything at all.
Really?
Expanded.
Where do you want me to start? So. Anyway, going back to the reason, the reason I mentioned the Phoenician woman, the Gentile woman, was to show that if you look at it objectively, yes, Jesus, according to the Bible, did sin. By the way, this is not the way of the Quran. According to the Quran, the prophets are the ones who do not commit such sins. Yes, the prophets are blameless. Yeah, of course, he's a prophet and a messenger according to the Quran.
But they said that,
and he's a Messiah as well.
So that story, they were saying the Christians have distorted that bit of it.
Not only that, there's lots. I think that's one of
That's an example.
the biggest distortion is where God gets killed by his creation.
Right. Oh yeah. So you have
the human sacrifice for sins. To me, that is one of the greatest distortions. Because if you blaspheme God, that is something which is one of the greatest things. One of the greatest sins besides shirk. Shirk is associating partners with God, false gods, believing false gods, and so on.
Well, even if you don't agree with me, can I maybe explain that a bit better? So even if you don't agree to understand
which part?
Christians on about the point about the fact that the cross is the greatest demonstration of the love of God. It's because I've lost my thread.
We have been through this already so many times, and I showed you it's nothing to do with love or justice. Because you see, what you're doing, you're appealing to emotion. I'm sorry to say this.
I'm not.
There's no rationality.
There is rationality.
No, if there was rationality, then you will come to the understanding that punishing a criminal, punishing a sinner, not punishing a sinner and punishing an innocent being is unjust. If you use rationality and logic,
it would be apart from
and the justice of God.
Well, I mean, I do follow you, and I do accept what you said. Apart from the fact that if Jesus is God, then God takes the punishment upon himself. It's not Jesus isn't just an innocent man. It's God himself. So going back to something I said a long while earlier.
Yeah.
The Bible said.
Did we discuss this last time? Whether Jesus was God?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah. I mean, you may disagree with Christians about this, but
no. Did I quote John in that? The passage from John. So you see, in John 17:3, and this is a clear passage which would, beyond a doubt, prove to you and anyone who reads it objectively that Jesus cannot be God. So, when you do believe that Jesus came as a man during his ministry.
Holy man, holy God. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he was a man, obviously he wasn't an atheist. Yes. He believed in God. He worshipped God. He prayed to God. Did he teach people how to worship and whom to worship as God?
Yes. So he said.